Howdy everyone on YouTube. Thanks for tuning into this video. This is a video review of the Surefire M2 Centurion flashlight. And that's the flashlight you see right here in front of you. So first thing, I've had this light now for about 4 weeks, almost a month now. So I wanted to make sure I used it and I owned it for a long time before doing any kind of detail video review or that type of thing. So I use it every day at work, and it's performed very well so far. So let's take a look closer at really what makes it tick. I'm going to turn the camera light on my camera so you can really get a close view of everything. So first thing that jumps out at you is it's a gunmetal gray. That is a Type 3 anodize that you find on the higher end Surefire combat lights. It's a very hard finish, very high degree of scratch resistance, and very durable. Although the edges are still very susceptible to scratches, and in fact you can see some of my scratches and dings around the perimeter of the bezel. So that's one of the things that you get that's one of the things that separates the combat light series, from the standard, more civilian use Surefire 6P and the 9P. That leads me to the main reason why I bought this light here. I'm a big fan of xenon incandescent lamps. I just like the color tint that incandescent lighting provides, and I wanted a light that could really withstand a lot of the impact and drops that I tend to dish out to my flashlights while I use them every day. So that's where this light really excels, I think. So the bezel itself is so huge, a good sizable bezel. It's so huge because it has a lot of vibration, shock dampening features inside here, which set it apart from the Surefire C2 and the aforementioned Surefire 6P. So let's take it apart and show you that as well. Okay, so inside here you're going to see that metal collar. That's what houses the reflector assembly, and that entire collar is suspended on some foam rubber, and that foam rubber basically floats the entire light engine and really does an excellent job of providing vibration damping to the very fragile xenon lamp assembly. Okay, so it's pretty good. I'm surprised at how solid it is, and it still provides a really solid, robust feel, to the entire pill, the entire assembly as a whole. I was kind of worried it would rattle and it would be really flimsy and feel cheap, but it really doesn't. I mean, it feels really solid, and in typical Surefire fashion is very durable. So while I've got the light apart, let's show you a close-up of the threads and the main bezel body O-ring. Very tight fitting O-ring. I would say this light is shallow submersible. In fact, it is shallow submersible. I've had it in the swimming pool before. Obviously it's not a dive light, so you're not going to want to take it too much farther down than maybe a couple feet at the most, but it is shallow submersible and definitely splash proof. There's the inside. This light will house Deal Extreme drop-in modules, Malkoff M60, Deerlight, Lumens Factory, any aftermarket module assembly will fit into this light. So let's take apart. Let's talk about here. This light comes with your choice of two different types of light modules. The one here on the left is a P61. It's a 120 lumen incandescent lamp, and the one here on the right is a standard Surefire P60, which is a 60 lumen incandescent lamp. I tend to prefer the P61 because it's so much brighter. But the P60 is actually pretty useful in my opinion as well, so I tend to use them both as my mood and my preferences change. So I'm going to put the P61 back in, and I think there's a lot of reviews already out there on the P61 and definitely on the P60 here, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time doing beam shot reviews, but I will do a little bit of that towards the end of this video. So the switch cap is a standard Surefire twist for permanent on type. There, like you see there. And it's got a forward tactical thumb switch on it, momentary, much like the Surefire 6P. So, and oh, of course, it's got a full lockout position, like so, for storage. So, what else? Let's take a look at the threads on this end. It's got 2 O-rings on this end, again, for improved water splash resistance. And the inside diameter of that tube is about 17.5 millimeters. So this light will house a 17670 size cell. But you'll have to update the module to a 3.7 volt light module. Okay, so again, Surefire robustness and smoothness of machining on all the threads. So let's put the batteries back in. What else can I tell you? It's got a really nice belt clip. Although a light that's this big and this bulky is much better to be holstered than slung on a belt. Although, you know, I've done it before, no problem. And I think a holster actually will help protect the bezel from scratches and abuse a little bit better too. Oh, it's got a really nice rubber grip ring on it. And that's one of the things that just jumps out right away as being superior to the 6P. The grip ring allows you to hold the light any number of ways very comfortably without it falling out, which is very important. A light that's this big, this bulky, and this it's pretty bezel heavy as well. That's kind of surprised me. It's not balanced very well. That bezel is so big it tends to pull the weight of the light forward. So you're going to want a firm grip on this light when you're holding it in either hand, and that grip ring provides that kind of grip. So, all right, so that's pretty much it as a handheld flashlight. Okay, so obviously it's made to be mounted on a weapon, and that's why it has this weird cross-sectional shape here on the body of the tube. It's made to be mounted in a weapon. In fact, that's why they made it so shock resistant, to withstand the recoil and the impact of being mounted in a weapon and used as an aid to a firearm. So in fact, I'm only using it to maybe 50% of its full potential, if that. So unfortunately, I don't have a firearm to mount it in, and I'm just going to have to leave it to your best imagination, I think, to try and extrapolate a little bit on just how successful this design really is. So there's a lot of other videos out there and some other reviews of this light and the bigger M3 being used as a firearm-mounted aid. So let's go over to the white wall and just do some quick beam shot reviews. Okay, there's the Surefire M2 with the P61 module, and you can see a nice big round hotspot. And here is again the Deal Extreme 11836 in a Surefire 6P. So right away on a white wall, again, the LED is going to win in terms of an all-out brightness type of comparison. And we'll take this outdoors and do some comparisons outdoors as well. And there is the familiar light from my 11836 with a 6P host. And there's the Surefire M2 with P61 lamp. And we'll switch back and forth. .11836, and you can kind of see a gray garbage can off in the distance there, and my little side fence and a walkway as I scan back and forth. And there's the Surefire M2 with P61, and right away, massive color tint difference. In fact, this I'm going to focus down here because I think this stuff over here really illustrates the color tint difference a little bit better than my front door over there. So